All right, video number 3. Here we go. Opening night roster time. Again, this is opening night. This is not for the season. This is for the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets are in flux, and it's a matter of can they take that step forward in a very difficult division in which to do so. They're still the only team in the league that's never won a playoff game. Not the only team that hasn't won a round. Columbus hasn't won a round either. But not winning a playoff game is tough. When you've got a 15-year history to look back on, it's tough. And this roster is okay. I've messed around with it a little bit because I think if they want to get off to a good start, I think there's some room to move a guy or two out. First line I see in this opening night, I see Laine with Scheifele and Wheeler. This is the team's guys they're betting on. These are the 3 horses they're betting on to take them to the next level. Second line, I have Ehlers, who's also being counted on, with Little and Stafford. Stafford's got to get his game going. If they're going to get back to the playoffs, Stafford has to show that he's worthy of the team's faith in him. On the third line, and the third line was tough, because on the left side you have Mathias and you have Dano, and those guys could be interchangeable. I like Sean Mathias as a Canucks fan. I like what he brings, and I think he's a good utility forward. I have Lowry in the middle, or not Lowry, Perreault's in the middle on the third line with Armia on the right wing. But Armia could easily miss the lineup altogether. He's sort of, hard to track. And I've got Dano playing with Lowry and Burmistrov. I've got Burmistrov on the wing. It could be him or Lowry on the wing. And I've got Thorburn as a healthy scratch, along with Kyle Connor. Now, Connor is a wild card because I think you need to have him in top 6 for him to be effective. And I don't know that he fits into the top 6. I mean, maybe if you ditch Stafford before the season starts. But it's a good forward group. Winnipeg genuinely has a good forward group. I honestly like the talent at the top end. If Scheifele can continue his development, and if Laine is exactly what Laine is supposed to be, there's no reason that they can't be competitive and potentially a playoff team. Because on the blue line, I have no issues. You have Byfuglien, Trouba, Myers, Enstrom. That's your top 4. Those guys can move around, move up, move down. And any of them could be top 2. I really like what Myers has done since going to Winnipeg. I like Tyler Myers anyways. I was upset when the Canucks didn't draft him when they had the chance. And I think Myers has a lot of upside that hasn't really fully been fleshed out. And I don't know that it ever will, but it's still there. And then your 5-6, I have Ben Shiro and Mark Stewart. But Postma could end up in there. There's a couple other guys who could end there too. I have Josh Morrissey as a healthy scratch because I think Morrissey at some point has to play. He has to get a shot with the Jets. And then in net, I have Pavlich and Hutchinson because Hellebuck still can quit, doesn't need waivers. And that's the thing. Does Winnipeg want to ditch Pavlik and go with Hutchinson and Hellebuck, which sounds like the natural way to go, right? Well, that's the easy thing to do. But it isn't. Because, yeah, Pavlich hasn't been up to snuff, but there's no guarantee that Hellebuck's ready to start, and Hutchinson's not ready to start. The Jets need to get back into the playoffs, at least be in the hunt. And if you've got Hutchinson and you've got Hellebuck, yes, it's a promising goaltending tandem. It's an exciting goaltending tandem. But is there a certain amount of stability with Pavlich? You know you can get 30, 35 wins out of Pavlich. He may not be very good in them, but he'll get you the win totals. Would the team feel better having a guy in net in Pavlich, or would they feel better in front of Hellebuck? That's the question that Cheveldayoff has to answer, because ultimately it's his decision. The Jets can't afford to spin their wheels much longer. They got Laine. They, got an amazing deal with this draft because this draft was very top heavy and a lot of stars, a lot of potential stars, anyways. Um, and I like Winnipeg's roster. I like what they've done, but I would still say they're a bubble team. I still don't see them as a team that's going to make the playoffs and make all kinds of noise if they get there. So, again, this is where it comes down to if you're a fan of the team. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Winnipeg gets over that hump, because the other problem Winnipeg's going to have as a franchise is if they keep spinning their wheels, it's going to be hard as a fan to continue to re-up your season tickets and pay the premium price that you're going to pay because you're in a smaller stadium to support a team that probably can't afford to get to the cap. Like, there are reasons to be concerned if you're a Winnipeg fan for the health of the franchise that will always be there. And I say that as a hockey fan who knows that almost any team in Canada, unless you're Montreal or Toronto, that potential, we're in trouble, we might get relocated. I'm not including Vancouver as the safe teams because back in '99 there were rumblings that Vancouver could get moved to Seattle. It's not out of the realm of possibility that a Canadian team with a Canadian dollar down at 70 cents US gets an American buyer who decides they want to move to the team to a city like Kansas City where they're going to make money. This is why Quebec didn't come back into the NHL. I agree it sucks. It sucks if you're a Quebec Nordiques fan who was looking forward to the team coming back. But it's a harsh reality. And Winnipeg lives in it. They're always going to be in the bottom third for salaries. They're always going to be struggling to sign the free agents and to keep their top-notch prospects. That's why it's good to see Scheifele sign their long deal, or long term, because they need that. They can't afford to keep moving guys out. I think losing Ladd was a benefit, though. I think losing Ladd was absolutely a win. I don't think Ladd was doing them any favors the last couple of years, even when they went to the playoffs. I'm not a fan of Andrew Ladd. And anybody who watches my videos and goes back to the free agency when the Islanders signed him, I was rolling my eyes and going, eh. But it's this lineup for Winnipeg is better than what they iced last year. And for that reason alone, I think there's going to be a lot less pain for fans of the Jets than they saw this year. And I guess we'll see. We'll see if I'm right or not. I don't see them in the playoffs, though. But this is only an opening night roster, and I'm not getting into playoff predictions yet. But we're getting close, because free agent signings have slowed to a trickle. There's some guys that are just sitting out there that may sit out there till the season starts. Or until some teams free up some cap space somehow. But from now until then, I will continue to do these and talk to you fine people. And that's really all I have to say about Winnipeg. I wish them the best. I don't have a problem with Winnipeg, and it is good for Canada to have healthy Canadian franchises. It's good for all of them. If the Jets are a healthy franchise, it helps Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary. Because I know that having that road trip within the country is easier than having to cross the country and deal with visas and passports and whatever else you have to deal with. So hopefully the Jets have a solid season, and hopefully Laine can get into Calder position and can lead them to something more than the Winnipeg Jets have had to this date, and that's a win in the playoffs. And then maybe more. Because all it takes is just that one win, that jolt of confidence, and then it rolls. It can really roll from there. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll do 3 more teams tomorrow. And I really don't plan what teams. Like today, it was just random, basically. I just looked and went, okay, this one. Okay, this one. All right, and this one. And we're done. I'm going to try to do a Canadian team every day and 2 American teams every day. So it'll work out pretty much that you get your Canadian team fix 1 at a time and Americans 2 at a time. And it should all pretty much work out. Anyways, Thanks for watching. I got my money for my books today, so I got a huge infusion of cash while I was at work. It did not motivate me to work harder. It motivated me to say to my supervisor immediately, "Can I just go? I just got $170 Canadian in my bank. Can I go right now? Because that's more money than I'm going to make here today, and tomorrow is payday, so this isn't even payday money. I just so, and then what do? I go and I cheap out and buy 2 books for $8, and I bought hockey pages to put my hockey sets in, and a binder. I spent about $40, but I've invited a couple friends of mine out tonight to Boston Pizza to celebrate because they're actually in my next book as characters. I've used their first name, not their last, so due to that, I kind of feel like I can take them out for dinner using money I made off books on the agreement that by accepting dinner from me, they waive any right to any and all royalties from here. So if you're watching, you waive all your rights. Anyhow, this was fun today, and thanks for watching.